Networking Squared, Jerry Olson paying attention in the studio here on a Saturday morning. I want to appreciate the audience for tuning in. We're making this thing grow, and I would love to do a 2-hour show, wouldn't you, Al?
It would be really cool. I would be more than happy to do a couple hours of this.
If we're going to come in and do this much preparation, I would just love to be here for 2 hours, and I think it would work for everybody involved. We have Entrepreneur's Source. Mr. Doug Rossman is in the studio. Doug, I would like to welcome you to the studio.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's going to be an exciting time. We have more questions to ask than we have time, and you have quite a resume. I'm very, very impressed with your resume. It's way more than just being an entrepreneur and a coach. You have laid the foundation so that you are able to do this, and it's so cool. And Al is such a sports guy. Why don't you just go ahead with that coach thing, man?
Yeah. Again, welcome to the studios today, and we are very, very pleased to have you here. And I think that our listeners need to have a pad and paper and make sure that they get your contact information that we'll share later, because you have some great, great things to share. So welcome this morning.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. You know, the first question that I'd asked you when we were talking before was why? Why is it that you decided to get into this business? And I'd like you to share that with our listeners as to why you have this involvement with what you do.
All right. Well, I actually worked for 30 years in a corporation, several corporations, and the last job I actually got downsized, like many of our listeners might have, and I decided enough with the corporate world. Let's control my own destiny. And I actually had a coach for franchising work with me about 5 years ago when I was thinking about getting into it. And I really enjoyed the pleasure of having him help me and mentor me through the process. So I decided that would be something I'd like to do for other people.
And the thing that I really was kind of baffled by was when I heard franchise, obviously I thought McDonald's, Wendy's, that was what I think of when you say franchise, and that's the furthest thing from the truth. You actually have a much broader scope of the things that you offer as far as franchises go.
Right. We've got over 300 franchises that we can show options on, and they actually cross over 40 different industries. So food is certainly one of them, but it's a small percentage of the 300 that we've got.
And you had indicated that 290 of those are actually franchises that are available in the Southeast Michigan area. So it's not like people have to move away. There's a lot of opportunities right here in Southeast Michigan.
Oh, absolutely. Almost all of our franchises are national based. They're all licensed to be in every state.
Wow. And the one thing that again I was really surprised is Jerry and I were both baffled by this, but your services are free.
Correct. Very free.
And so that is kind of it was a mind blower. But one of the things that I wanted to do.
Hold on a second, Al.
Okay.
Hang on a second.
It is free. Okay.
I do want to qualify this. The man is not doing it for free. It's that the people that are looking for the franchise don't have to pay for it. That's actually paid for the franchise. Okay. So the man does get paid. So I don't want to think anybody that, like he's starving to death. So,
right.
But this information is free, and you can sit down and have a consultation with your coach.
Right. And what I'd like you to do is to kind of elaborate on that and explain how this process works for somebody who is looking to get involved with something like this.
Okay. Well, we start out with the initial conversation to understand what their current situation is, what their level of wanting to become self-employed and control their own destiny. We also do some profiling with a questionnaire. And then we talk again on the phone, and we'll spend about 40 minutes to an hour sorting through the areas of interest that they might have. And when we get done with that conversation, we will end up with 2 to 4 different opportunities that we both think will fit. And then we start the discovery phase.
Okay, and I wanted to back up here a little bit. It is Entrepreneur's Source. Look it up, okay? If you're online, but that's going to be our new word. Look it up, because Al and I have to do and Erica too. We have to do our research. We're doing it all the time. We have to look this stuff up. We want you guys to look this stuff up too. This is very interesting. Very interesting. Tell me a little bit about Entrepreneur Source. What's the background on it?
The Entrepreneur Source was founded 26 years ago, headquarters in Connecticut, and they actually have 4 or 5 different franchises on their own that they service, and they have coaches all over the country. There's one or more in every state.
And what's the territory that you control?
I can market in Michigan.
So you have the whole state?
Yes.
Okay. And so if somebody's looking for any sort of an opportunity in the state of Michigan, you are the source for the state of Michigan?
Yes, I am, and I can also take references from outside the state. So if somebody wants to give me a reference and says, hey, go talk to this guy in Arizona, I'm allowed to do that.
Okay. I think a lot of people are out there that maybe they've been downsized or they've lost their jobs and
I'm sorry, Al. I got to do. We talked about the downsized, the right size, and what was the other term?
Capsized.
Capsized. So we've got if you've been downsized, or right sized, or capsized, and I love that. Sorry, I had to say it.
Well, actually, elaborate on that. Give me what your version is of capsized.
Capsized is basically your company was fine, the economy took a big wave and turned over your boat.
So we got like the Titanic going on here.
Yes, but no ice.
No ice, yeah. Well, actually, it'd be Poseidon Adventure. That's what I was thinking of.
Okay, there
Poseidon
you go.
Adventure, yeah.
So how did you get involved with the Entrepreneur Source then?
I wanted to help people. I want to put Michigan back to work. And I can do that. I can do that one job at a time, one small business at a time, and then the trickle-out effect. One business will hire 4 employees. Their needs and requirements will hire 2 more employees and other suppliers, and the trickle-down effect will balloon and help Michigan out.
All right, and I know I want to turn Al on here because I want to talk statistics, and the man is a statistic guru. And you had some pretty interesting statistics about people and businesses. Can you give me some of those? Do you remember what we were talking about?
We're talking about the success of franchises
or
versus
the
independents?
80% of people would like to get involved in a business.
75% of the people want to get involved in a self-controlling business, but really only 5% actually do.
That's pretty amazing. So, I mean, we're talking 75, 2/3 of the people, or 3/4, would actually like to do this.
Right.
And only 5% get involved. They need a coach, Al.
Well, they need a coach, and they need a person that can do this. This guy has the ability to place you in what it is that you belong in. Instead of it being a hit or miss thing or trial and error, he has a system in place that he can look at who you are and what you are and can give you options on the franchises that best serve you.
That's correct.
Doug, who are the people that you're looking for? Like, what is your ideal candidate for a franchise?
An ideal candidate would be a man or a woman, somebody that is likely between 40 and 60 years old, somebody that's dissatisfied with their current situation. They don't like their current job, they're not working right now, and they want to begin to control their own destiny.
Now, what about couples? Do you get a lot of couples that come in and they want to start businesses together?
Yes, we have couples, and we also have friends that want a partnership. And it's a very good thing to do because one party will support the other party. One may be great in the operations end of the business, but the other one could be very good in sales. And most franchises, you need to do both of those very well. And so couples and partners work very well for us.
And the follow-up on the couples, you did talk about that, and you had told me the couples, a husband and wife team, seem to work very well together.
Absolutely, because they're normally maybe opposites, and opposites will support the business much better.
Right.
Well, Doug, I'm in my 20s, so why wouldn't you be looking for somebody like my age?
Well, I would love to work with people in their 20s, but most people in their 20s have a great desire to be independent, but they don't have any seed money to make it happen.
Oh, that makes much sense.
Okay. And I guess so the question then is if somebody's looking at this as a possibility, is there a range of money that they need to have, or is that going to be making the difference on the type of franchise they look at as far as the amount of seed money, I guess, as you would just call it?
Each franchise will cost a different amount to get started up and running and breaking even. So certainly we have some franchises you can get into as low as $6,000. Most franchises will be more like $30,000 or $40,000. But I think we'll talk later on about ways to finance that.
Yeah, we're going to do that. Your role in the process, what have you got with that? So can you tell us how it begins and how far do you take it?
I've worked with some clients for a year now, and we're still working. So we start with our basic conversation. My role is a coach. Coaches will help people mentor, teach, and make sure they're on the right path.
Okay. So for the person, the typical person that you're seeing right now is a person. Now, I guess here's a question I'll ask you: is what about credit? Does credit play a role in this? Is there, if somebody's had a bankruptcy or if had some issues, is that a determining factor in what somebody can do from a franchise standpoint?
Credit. If you're going to go out and get a financing and or loan, your credit rating, you can look it up free online. It should be at least 680 or above.
Okay. And is this something that you have that ability? So they'd have to actually go and get their credit report themselves, or do you have contacts for that?
Yes, we don't get Social Security numbers from our clients or anything like that, and so certainly I will give them the website that's free so that they can go out and get their own credit rating.
Right, great, awesome. Sure.
It's I'm just going over all this stuff, the process and the role. Now, here's a man who's actually working with somebody for a year, Al,
right,
and he's not getting paid.
Correct.
So this is somebody that's got to have his heart involved in what's going on. And he has to truly believe in the people he's working with, because he's, in the end is when he's going to get paid. So he's going to work with you. So you really have a vested interest in the people you're with, don't you?
We have a vested interest, but we're certainly very neutral because of so many opportunities we have available. It doesn't matter. Coaches do not push what our clients should be looking at.
Okay. Networking Squared, we're going to get some contact information. We're going to get the phone number out here so you can find out how to talk to Doug. And we're also going to do a little bit of Let's Talk Franchises on the other side of the break. Jerry O here, Networking Squared.